So first of all, there's no upfront capital expense. So I remember I came from the research world, and if we had an idea for a new project or an idea to test out, that meant I had to go convince somebody else that was a good idea, at which point we would go together and try to get funding for our capital budget to procure some hardware, at which point it would go through IT procurement. Finally, we'd get those servers ordered, they'd get racked and stacked in a data center, and then we could try out that idea. Obviously, if you're in science, you know that you have a lot of failures till you find those good ideas. And that's the point of AWS, is we want you to be able to fail fast in your research and be able to find those good answers. And you get a lot of that when you don't have that upfront capital expense. The next benefit is low cost. We've had over 48 price reductions since our inception in 2006. The next benefit is that you only pay for what you use. So we don't require long-term commitments from the customers. Our next benefit is our security and compliance. This is priority zero for AWS. We set a really high bar for security and compliance, and I think it's really our strong suit and what separates us from maybe other public cloud providers. We've achieved a number of internationally recognized certifications and accreditations, things like ISO 27001, SOC 1, 2, and 3, FedRAMP. At this point, I'm going to quit rambling on about the different acronyms, but now I just recommend that you go and check out our compliance website that has the full list. But this high level of security and compliance, that's what contributed to the NIH revising their policy on controlled access genomic data sets such as dbGaP, which you can now run on top of the AWS platform. The next benefit is it's self-service, so everything on the AWS platform is just API endpoints, and you can use that to automate your entire data center. The next benefit is to scale up and scale down. There's no need to over-provision. Your IT infrastructure can move as your customer demand does. The next benefit is the agility and flexibility. So this one, AWS does not lock you into anything. We are very decoupled, and you just pick what services work best for you. So we offer a VM import and export. Notice I said export there. You can take your VMs out at any point. The same with our S3 storage service. Everything is just a URL in the sky, so you could exchange that with a different back-end storage service at any time. And we really like this model because it forces us to work hard to keep our customers. The last benefit I'm going to talk about is the ability to go global in minutes. AWS, we currently have 11 regions, and a region is a cluster of data centers throughout the world. And these clusters contain over 30 availability zones, and we have over 53 points of presence throughout the world today. So with all of these benefits, Genospace was able to take this framework and build a very cool precision medicine platform, and I'd like to hand back to Mick to tell you a little bit more about that.
Great. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you to everyone that's joining us here on the call today. So my name is Mick Carell. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Genospace. And at our company, what we provide is a comprehensive platform for precision medicine. So today, we're working with organizations that are involved with the interpretation and reporting. So our product FullView is in use today at clinical laboratories where we receive the specific molecular profile information for an individual patient. And using our tools, molecular pathologists and clinical staff can develop a report that goes back to the ordering clinician about how those specific set of alterations can be used in a clinical setting. So understanding the relationship to different therapeutic agents, understanding the relationship to different prognostic information for that individual, and identifying specific clinical studies that may be relevant to them. So once a report has been published on Genospace, we can then deploy this through our patient and physician portals. So in many ways, this is a way for secure delivery of those reports back to the ordering clinician. But it's also an opportunity to add additional context information. So if we're talking about a particular drug that may be particularly effective for that individual, we can bring in all the other details about that drug, how it's been, exactly where it's been approved. If we're suggesting a particular clinical study, we can hyperlink in all the additional details about that study and about how that individual could become enrolled. The next step we do, so really the first three are really thinking about the use of genomics in a very operational context. So how can we use molecular profiling information to help guide treatment for an individual patient? What we think is really exciting about the industry today is that in addition to being able to use this kind of in that single sample scenario, every person we profile is contributing to an information asset. So what that means, and with our population analytics, we're then able to aggregate all the information across those different cases, combine it with other clinical and phenotypic characteristics, and then enable more of a cohort-level analysis. So on one hand, we're able to really solve that very immediate need of being able to perform an interpretation for an individual, but then importantly, we're then able to really help to develop an information asset that can, going forward, help inform, find out of future cases, as well as potentially contribute to the research effort.